Good afternoon and welcome to the 2018 Interscholastic Unified Outdoor Bocce Preseason Coaches Briefing. This session is intended for District 8, which is composed of Calvert and St. Mary's County, as well as District 11, Dorchester, Somerset, Wycomico, and Worcester County. My name is Melissa Kelly. I work for Special Olympics Maryland. I'm the Senior Director of School Sports Programs, and I have overseen the Unified program for high schools for the past 5 years or so. I have been involved with the program since the inception in 2009, so I have had the opportunity of meeting many of you and look forward to meeting those of you who are new to the program. So welcome. The agenda for this session is to provide introductions, identify your primary points of contact, your secondary points of contact should they apply, and then as well move into the administrative components of the season and the resources available to you. Then we'll close with the question and answer opportunity. For District 8, Calvert County and St. Mary's County, your point of contact is out of our office, my colleague Kristen Mullins. She is the Regional Sports Director serving the Central and Southern Maryland. Kristen's contact information is offered there, including her cell phone number. So please consider her your exclusive point of contact should you need anything that cannot be resolved or otherwise taken care of within your school or school system. For District 11, which is loosely composed of the Bayside Conference Southern area from Dorchester southward, your primary point of contact is Stephanie Hearn. She serves as the district representative, and she is serving Dorchester, Somerset, and Worcester exclusively. Please know that Jen Hill does continue to serve Wycomico County exclusively as their Unified Sports Coordinator. Should Stephanie not be available, Kendall Zeswitz, who is also my colleague assigned to the Bayside Conference and other neighboring counties, is your contact once again if Stephanie is not available. And everyone's cell phone and email addresses are offered there. Administrative components relevant to the season. So congratulations, you are an integral part of offering the 9th season of Unified Outdoor Bocce. The season will be composed of approximately 8 weeks. The student athletes from 12 school systems will compete in one of 6 district tournaments, with 32 teams advancing to the state tournament, which will take place at Washington College on May 22nd. The loose guidelines for participation, we have established these over a number of years. We realize there are different considerations relevant to each school system, so if you're not able to adhere to these guidelines, please simply just shoot me a note. My email and my contact information is offered there, and let me know what your training and competition regular season looks like. So with that, the season should be composed of no less than 8 weeks, with teams practicing at least twice a week and participating in 3 or more competitions. The season timeline. We do adhere to the MPSSAA timeline, so with that, you could have started practice as soon as March 1st. March 21st will serve as the first eligible play date. Once again, that's a MPSSAA regulation. March 21st also serves as the due date for all Special Olympics Maryland forms and Class A requirements. We'll get to those momentarily. April 2nd is the first day that team assessments can be administered, and at that time, the district reps will communicate to our bocce chair, Brian Montgomery, the total number of teams competing in your district, which is a quick math reference to identifying the number of teams allocations out of each district. As I mentioned previously, we can accommodate 32 at the state tournament, and we prorate those per district based on the number of teams participating. April 13th, the postseason registrations are due to Special Olympics Maryland, so more to come on that. That is your lineup for both your district tournament and the state tournament. The district tournaments, we are working diligently with school systems to identify host sites, host schools, as well as times and dates. So the window of hosting those would be April 24th through May 10th. And then the teams advancing out of those tournaments, once again 32, will go and compete at the state tournament on May 22nd at Washington College. The student athlete form. So this is a Special Olympics form for those of you who have who have coached in previous seasons. This should look very familiar. This is due to your primary points of contact by March 21st or sooner. Please, coaches, as you are on the front lines to receive this form, do your due diligence in making sure it is complete in its entirety and accurate. There is the seldom occasion that we will receive these forms and the disability classification will not be accurate. We realize that those disability classifications are not readily available or made available to everyone within the building, but if you suspect that it might be inaccurate, please do visit with those people in your building who might be able to provide clarification. As well, we do need contact information, names, dates, all that sort of thing, and signatures as well. And also, if you have a student athlete who has competed in a previous season in the school year of unified sports, we still do need to collect this form for each season. It is all intents and purposes a permission slip, if you will, for each of the sports. So please do know that as well. The affirmation of eligibility is a listing of all the student athletes, and you are signing that, giving attesting that the local school system expectations have been met. So that is commonly an annual sports medical as well as emergency contact card completion and submitted. And then as well confirming that the application for participation has been submitted as well. The second page of this form was revised in November of 2017. So the addition of the additional team personnel or travel party section is new, and we need to have all non-student athletes, whether they are under the age of 18 and students at the school or otherwise, we need to have everyone listed there so that we can do our due diligence and make sure that we have everyone vetted as a Class A volunteer with Special Olympics Maryland at the forefront of the season rather than waiting as the state tournament quickly approaches. So your cooperation with that is greatly appreciated. Non-student athlete clearances. So there are 2 steps for those who are adult age, so 18 years old or older. So with that, they would complete a 2-page application for, volunteer application. We no longer require a social security number, so please know that, as well as complete a protective behaviors training, and that is administered through a short quiz by way of that live link. And it's a 10-question quiz. It's going to take 5 to 10 minutes, and those are submitted accordingly. For those who are under the age of 18, they need to complete the 2 previous steps that were stated for those who are of adult age. They also need to complete a student minor form, which is identifying 2 non-family member references. We cannot run a background check for those who are under the age of 18, so having that form suffices for that expectation. And once again, due accordingly on March 21st. The protective behaviors training does give an option to print the confirmation, so please do utilize this option. We do receive reports or can check in with North America periodically to obtain a listing of those who have completed the training. However, we do need to comb through the listing from the entire country, so this would provide a level of efficiency that we have not been able to realize in previous seasons. So know that that is an option there. Rules review, points of emphasis. Please know that the coach's resource guide was mailed hard copy to each of the schools, along with recruitment posters and a how to coach Special Olympics athletes pocket guide. Along with that, a Google Drive has been set up, which houses the electronic copy of the coach's resource guide, all relevant forms, so on and so forth. So some points of emphasis, the roster expectations. So each roster needs to be composed of no less than 4 student athletes and a maximum of 8. For teams that have 8 student athletes, the coach has the option of identifying 2 substitutes. And the substitutes can be 1 person with a disability and 1 person without a disability. It is our desire to provide a fully inclusive experience for everyone, that 50% of the roster should be people with disabilities, and 50% of the roster should be students without disabilities. That is not a hard and fast rule, however. There must be a minimum of 2 students with disabilities and 2 students without disabilities on every team's roster, and that is a hard and fast rule. So if you're out of compliance with that, regretfully, you're an invalid team and would not be able to advance to the state tournament. You would be able to continue to participate locally by way of the discretion of your local school system, administrators and such. But this is an inclusive program, and that is the minimum expectations as set by the Bocce sport management team through Special Olympics Maryland. The lineup within each frame is you have one of 2 options. So you can have 2 players with a disability and 2 players without a disability, or you can have 3 players with a disability and 1 player without a disability. That's a mention. This next slide is a mention of as to how to our process in which we collect the number of valid participating teams locally, and then we prorate that count to have proportionate representation at the state tournament. The district layout is consistent with the past few years. With outdoor bocce, we have District 8. Charles is not considered and not participating in outdoor bocce. In District 8, we have Calvert County and St. Mary's County. And then in District 11, we have Dorchester, Wycomico, Worcester, and Somerset. Coaches, as you do move toward the process in establishing your postseason registration, please, once again, you're in the front lines of this, so please make sure that all student athletes listed on your postseason registration have met the expectations outlined by Special Olympics Maryland, as well as your respective school system. So that would be completed the application for participation, are listed on the affirmation of eligibility, and the relevant school system expectations. So commonly, the annual sports medical, and an emergency card. As well, please ensure that all of the first and last names, both yours and the student athletes, are complete. And also if you have multiple teams participating out of your school, please do have a single attachment for each for each team. And know too that, once again, substitutes are only applicable for teams that have at least 8 players. The naming formation for schools that have multiple teams out of your school, please use a numbering naming formation rather than school mascot, school colors, as indicated on this slide. So best high school team 1, best high school team 2, best high school team 3, for example. Like I said, the coaches' resource guides were mailed hard copy to each school, as well as there's a pre-recorded review, meticulous review of the coaches' resource guide, which is made available by way of YouTube, and the live link is offered there. It's about a 90-minute recording offered by our Unified Bocce chair, Brian Montgomery. So it is self-paced. You can stop, come back to it, so on and so forth, but it is a meticulous review, and please do utilize that at your convenience. Next steps. So your to-do list as you come on the start of your season. School-specific expectation. First and foremost, you want to confirm your playing schedule and then confirm transportation. You also want to ensure that you have adequate inventory relevant to uniforms, equipment, so on and so forth. If you need equipment or uniforms, or really anything of that sort, for that matter, if funds are not available at your school, please do contact our office, or your respective points of contact in District 8, Calvert and St. Mary's. Your contact, once again, is Kristen Mullins, and then in District 11, Stephanie Hearn. So once again, if funds are not available to underwrite these very essential needs, let us know. We're happy to give equitably to all of the 20 school systems that we partner with statewide, and ensure that the program is viable and successful. Also, please do recruit, host interest meetings, get those recruitment posters up, work with your special ed departments to identify viable student athletes, as well as student groups for unified partners, people without disabilities. Plan accordingly. Keep in mind that this season does stretch obviously over spring break, and at times we do have teams that have hardships relevant to interim grade reports, so on and so forth. So it's far better to have too many student athletes than not enough. And you know your community, your school community best, so please plan accordingly. As I mentioned previously, the Google Drive is available by way of the live link there. Please visit that and populate that with your contact information and anyone and everyone that should receive any communication relevant to the outdoor bocce season. And then as well, there are some other resources there, forms, so on and so forth, that are housed in that folder as well. In closing, just to reiterate the points of contact, so once again, in District 8, Calvert and St. Mary's County, Kristen Mullins, my colleague, is your exclusive point of contact. And then in District 11, serving Dorchester, Somerset, and Worcester, Stephanie Hearn, the district representative. Everyone's email and cell phone numbers are offered. And with that, I will close the presentation. And once again, thank you for all that you do in your communities, in your schools, and otherwise to offer inclusive opportunities to people with and without disabilities. Best of luck to you as you begin your season, and look forward to working with you in the near future.